a week where all are invited to rediscover the wonder of books. A time when we can all immerse ourselves in the joy that is literature. To get you started, I'd like to offer the following suggestions from my personal book list. Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens, Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain, and, of course, my own self-published memoir, It's Just a Skin Condition, really. So, grab a book, get together, and form groups to debate and discuss the great works of literature.
Obviously, Big Brain Boy is the world's greatest superhero due to his superior intellect.
Yeah, and he's got that, what do you call it? A big brain, yeah.
No way, Marcus. Leadfist would make mincemeat out of Big Brain Boy.
You can't be serious, Billy. We mustn't forget Captain Cod. He's got the brains and the brawn to get the job done.
I have to agree with you, Marcus. I think a perfect example of Captain Cod's superiority is evidenced in issue 123 when... What?
Lydia, you're a girl.
Clever observation, Rod. Now, as I was saying...
Lydia, this is a meeting of the comic book club.
Yeah, sorry, but it's kind of a private meeting, you know, members only.
Oh, what do you have to do to be a member?
Well, you have to fill out an application, but...
And you have to pass a written test on the history of comic books, but...
That's easy. I know everything about comic books.
And you gotta not be a girl.
What do you mean?
Sorry, Lydia, but there are no girls allowed.
It's just a rule we always had, Lydia. It's nothing personal.
Nothing personal?
What on earth is on my monitor? Shh. How dare you shh me? Shh. Radicus!
Sorry, Phantom, but that was The Young and the Wrinkled. You know, the soap opera about a group of spoiled rich kids working in a retirement home.
A soap opera? On my monitor?
The All Soap Opera Network, actually. All soap operas, all the time. I don't know how it got there.
How did it get there?
Somebody must have ordered it from the cable company.
You ordered it from the cable company?
I must have.
You mean some strange man from the cable company had his grease-stained hands all over my precious, sensitive, secret, private wiring?
Nah, it was a woman, and her hands were pretty clean.
How could you do this, Radicus? I feel so violated.
Take it easy, Phantom. It's only on the one channel. See? Oops. 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 3 channels, but we got about 157 others.
Water!
Good idea.
Villains! Scheming, heinous, underhanded, fearsome, detestable villains! That's the subject of this morning's lesson. Great villains through history.
Ooh.
Can't get enough Shakespeare, can you, Marcus? But let's put this away and concentrate on today's lesson, shall we?
But...
Aha! Aha! Marcus! You know comic books are banned from the classroom, particularly during Read-a-Book Week. Nothing but strange men in silly hats and capes. Ridiculous!
Ridiculous?
But comics have villains too, Mrs. Snodgrass. Some very formidable villains, and many of them don't wear hats or capes at all.
We're talking about history, Marcus.
Yeah, Marcus, history.
Not comic books.
Yeah, Marcus, not comic books.
Comic books are, well, a waste of time.
Yeah, Marcus, comic books are.
Thank you, Ruby.
You're welcome. But Mrs. Snodgrass, in a lot of cases, comic books are the only type of literature some kids will read. They may not be Shakespeare, but they're fun. At least they're a start.
You may have a point, Lydia. Not enough children read for fun in the age of TV and video and computer game thingies. Who knows? Given the right circumstances, someday I might even let you do a book report on a comic book series.
Hey!
But there's a time and a place for everything.
That That was great, Lydia.
Thanks.
Wasn't that great, Billy? Maybe we can make Lydia an honorary member of our comic club.
Forget it.
Just an idea.
Now then, back to our lesson. I want you all to think of the greatest villains in history. Who comes to mind?
Me, the Phantom. I'm the greatest villain in history.
Attila the Hun.
The Phantom.
Ivan the Terrible.
The Phantom.
The guy who invented the Macarena.
Ooh, that's a good one.
The Phantom!
What was that, Marcus?
No, I didn't say.
It sounded like the Phantom.
The Phantom!
Marcus, I do not want to hear about any silly comic book villain.
Silly comic book villain? How could she call me, the Phantom, a silly comic book villain?
Perhaps the Hat and the Cape?
Silence! I'll show her silly comic book villains!
You know, some of history's most colorful villains have been female.
Female? You mean like women?
Precisely. Lucretia Borgia, famed pirates Annie Bonny and Mary Read, China's Empress Dowager, all women who strived and succeeded in the otherwise male-dominated field of villainy. Now, let's see if you can name some others.
Gravity Girl! Wedgie Woman!
I'll ignore those suggestions, thank you.
Magnet Maestro, the living vapor.
Looks like Earl's annoyed again.
Our ultimate goal is world domination.
But in this case, we'll settle for your puny scoop.
I'm still waiting.
You'll never escape Magnet Maestro!
Wedgie Woman.
Wedgie!
Well, I know a couple of boys who are looking at some hard detention time.
No! You know, Raticus, I must say these silly comic book villains are pretty good. Of course, they ought to be good, for I brought them to life.
Of course, Phantom. Without you bringing them to life, why, they'd be pretty much lifeless.
Don't touch the remote.
But Phantom, can't we switch over to the young and the wrinkled just for a minute? I gotta see what's going on.
Don't touch! Don't!
Earl's really done it this time. These guys are unstoppable.
2 of them are girls, Billy.
Whatever.
Come on, Marcus. You know these comic books inside out. What would Big Barn Boy or Head Cheese do now?
You mean Big Brain Boy and Lead Fist.
I'm talking to Marcus.
They take advantage of the villain's weaknesses.
That's right. Every villain has a weakness.
Excellent! So what is it with these 4?
It's true. I do have an encyclopedic knowledge of the characteristics of hundreds of comic book villains.
I knew it.
Except for these 4 particular villains.
Huh? Well, Billy, you must know then.
I should, but I haven't really read any of these comic books.
Then we're doomed! Doomed!
Unless, of course, Ruby, you or I happen to have read some of these comic books.
Ha! What are the chances of that? We're girls!
You mean you've read these comic books, Lydia?
Yes.
So, you know the villain's weaknesses?
Yes.
Whoa! Is that ever weird?
Come on.
Oh, it's on again.
Raticus! I told you, don't touch the...
I didn't touch. I didn't touch.
Your ridiculous soap opera is on every channel!
And that just makes it